From there.
Obviously pleased with the defensive engagement to start both halves for sure, but really throughout the game. Uh, Proud of our kids again. Continue to be resilient, and there's an alternative to how we feel right now. And some teams are experiencing that, I'm sure, today. And so happy to get out here and be 1-0 and look forward to continue to build on what we did tonight.
Questions?
Coach Boynton, what did you think just overall of Musa Cisse's debut tonight?
Well, I thought he played like 30 minutes until I looked at the box score. His impact on the game was sensational on both ends of the court, really. But to look and see that he did that in all of 17 minutes is even more impressive. He keeps getting better. I mean, he got here and he was the last one to get here. We had some, obviously he wasn't available till late, but I don't think he even came until August. So he missed the summer with us as well. But to see his improvement since he's gotten here on both offensive and defensive end, understanding our system gives you a lot of reason for optimism moving forward.
That alley-oop dunk starting the second half, was it Donovan who set the screen? He said he thought it was Donovan.
Rondell set the screen.
Rondell, okay.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think just of that play?
Well, it was a design play. We missed him, we thought, a couple of times in the first half, and we wanted to try to give him an opportunity, and it helps to be 6'11" and athletic, right? Kind of unfair to be 6'11" and athletic. Being either one is a pretty good start, but he's got some tremendous lob catching ability, and it's something that we look forward to being able to use moving forward.
Were you? Go ahead. Were you looking to make a statement tonight? There was a time, I think you're up 35 or something like that. You're pressing a little bit. You had the walk-ons go score instead of running out the clock. Were you looking to make a statement?
We want to make a statement every night. Our kids want to make a statement every night. And obviously I have a lot of respect for Coach Young. I think eventually he'll get that program going and have a really successful run there. I know a lot of the kids on their team, their staff, but it's truly about us and trying to make the most of whatever this team is going to be able to do. And tonight was just the beginning of it.
The defensive intensity throughout the game, is that something you can even turn off?
I don't know. I don't know if any of them want to try that. But it's something that I just told them. It's the thing we have to be able to hang our hats on, right? We shot free throws well tonight. We shot relatively well from three, but we're not always going to. And so if we can establish the defensive side the way we did tonight as our identity, then that gives us a chance on nights when shots don't fall. And so that's the expectation, is that you compete as hard as you can and you try to make as many plays for your team as possible on the defensive end. And I'll give a little credit, right? I feel like we got the best football defense in the country, and I think our team's paying attention and want to make sure we're at least a part of that conversation. So shout out to Jim Knowles and his crew over there.
Mike, what did it mean to get the walk-ons in after last season?
It means a lot. They didn't even dress last year. And I think you know this, but Weston Church got caught up in COVID protocols, and the one opportunity he was going to even have to travel with us in the postseason, which was really, really unfortunate. But it's what we were dealing with last year, and so to not only have them dressed because they were practicing every day and doing everything we asked them to do, to have them have a chance to get in tonight and both score, it's truly awesome.
They said Carson said that's their points together. Like, they don't need to get individuals. That's their points.
That's good. And if they want to combine them with ice, they'll have 1,500 by the end of the year.
Coach, what do you want to see this team improve on going forward, and what do you want to see them improve on before you guys go into conference play?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of zone here the first couple of times we've been out, so continue to get better at zone offense. I think that's something we'll see moving forward. We got to keep getting better in transition defensively. I think we're really, really good in the half court. It's something we've talked about, our length and athleticism and ability to kind of switch and keep people out of the lane. And then to have a human eraser back there just adds another element. And that's still without the returning shot blocker in the conference not playing yet. So I think our defense, and Bryce Williams himself is a pretty damn good defender. So we'll get better here soon when those guys are able to play for us.
Mike, you mentioned not having Caleb, but Keelan came in 6 minutes in and 4 offensive rebounds pretty fast, hit the 3-pointers. What did he bring off the bench?
Energy, and I think it was really what keyed him being able to make shots, because he gave himself of the team first. He hustled after a few offensive rebounds, and he got a couple steals, and then he was open, and the game repaid him. We always talk about the game rewarding great effort, and I think that was a great example of it tonight. But it also shows the depth. I mean, you know, he could easily make a case to be a starter for us, probably. It's a pretty tough lineup, though, right? I mean, Bryce Williams, Bryce Thompson, Matthew Alexander, Moncrief, Caleb Boone. I mean, coming off the bench, that gives you a chance to have a pretty good team.
If that continues, how difficult is it going to be for you guys to try to come up with a lineup every single night?
No, it won't be that difficult. The difficult part is just figuring out the rotation during the game, really. Because the rhythm of the game and the flow and like that's the challenge, right? And so like even Bernie, right? Spot minutes, he's effective in those minutes. But Moose is playing so well, that's more the deal. It's kind of figuring out the rotation in game, not necessarily who will be out there to start.
Keelan's had bursts like that before. Is there something you've seen from him this preseason that shows you that he could do this with some consistency? Yeah,
I mean, he's had more consistency in practice this year than he has his first two. And, his freshman year, and a lot of them. I mean, even a guy like Avery that just have no idea what it takes to be successful, certainly at this level, but really any level. Then last year he was a little bit better, but still didn't have an identity. And this year I think he feels like there's a little bit more urgency, and right, he's looking over his shoulder. If he doesn't play well, you could get buried on this roster, right? A little bit, and so trying to have a little bit of sense of urgency about making sure that doesn't happen.
You mentioned 3-pointers earlier, and we mentioned 3-pointers in the preseason, how big that will be for you guys. Do you have an idea of how good of a 3-point shooting team you'll be yet, or is that still going to take some games to get?
It'll take some more games. Bryce Thompson didn't shoot it great today, especially early. Made a couple late. I think Woody's going to be a good shooter. They just haven't found a rhythm and flow in our offense yet, and those will be two guys that'll be a key factor in our ability to be an efficient 3-point shooting team.
You think Donovan's getting a little more comfortable?
I think so. He looks comfortable. He's continuing to hang his hat on making selfless hustle plays and things of that nature. And so, that's again when you're a guy who's more of a role player, right? And everybody's got a role, but when you're not relying on the score, if you can embrace the fact that you can still have value for your team's success, it really takes pressure off you in a lot of ways. It's one thing to be Avery when we're going to ask him to score 15 to 20 a game most nights. That's hard, right? But to be a guy that goes out there and communicates on defense and rebounds and make sure that we run our offense efficiently, then I think that takes a little bit of the edge off.
Did you notice anything different from Bryce Thompson in the second half, or was it just a matter of making shots?
He's kind of got like a professional mentality. He's that guy that the next shot's going in like all the time. And so I don't never really worry about him. I didn't talk to him any differently at halftime. I told him to keep playing hard. But the only thing I told him was don't allow missing shots to affect him on defense. And so that was the message. And for the most part, he did that.
Was being down 1-0 before the opening tip a pretty good metaphor for this season?
Yeah. It's a clerical deal. We had it's kind of a staff booking issue, and so we were able to overcome that one pretty quickly.
With Caleb being out, Musa led the team in rebounds. I assume that was probably a pretty big reason why you brought him into the portal. How exciting is that to see, especially when you look forward to Caleb getting back in?
Yeah, I mean that's one thing our staff will have to figure out is, and I think this may have come up maybe from one of you guys about whether they can play together, and that's certainly something we got to try to explore because you have to, right? You got two really imposing guys. We haven't really had that here in my time, and so that'll be something that we look at as Caleb comes back from his injury.
I know you've talked before about Avery Anderson's increased leadership. What do you think it is about him that made him able to, give the team so much energy and such a good start tonight?
I think Avery's biggest asset is he cares. I mean, like a high care factor, and care in the pot, like a healthy way about winning. He has extremely high level of confidence also because he really works at this. And he's got his sights set on becoming the best version of himself. And, obviously he flirted with the NBA process last year, got some feedback, and I think that's kind of driven him to be a little bit more vocal and a little bit more efficient as a player as well.
Was he more confident with his shooting in your mind tonight? It looked like he was a little more confident than he even was late last season.
Yeah, I thought he hunted a little bit late, but that's part of it, right? He's a scorer still. Kind of the best thing he does is make plays, and so you kind of got to let him be who he is if you're going to get the most out of him. And I think it's part of the reason why it's a good fit for him here because, as long as he's giving us everything he has on the defensive end, we allow him to have a little bit more freedom to, take some chances offensively where, some other systems are a little bit more restrictive.
What did you think of the crowd tonight? I think with like 2 minutes left and Orange Power chant started, they obviously went nuts for the walk-ons. What did you think of the crowd?
They're amazing. I mean, and obviously I feel like, these are our people and they have our back. And obviously I think there's a little bit more of a rally, but I really think regardless of what the other circumstance would be, this is what it would look like. This is the kind of momentum I felt building going into the end of last season and, what we were able to recruit, the excitement coming into this season. So I'm excited for our crowds to continue to get better. Obviously early on, you're going to not have your best crowds, right? When Big 12 teams start rolling in here, or more high caliber, more nationally relevant teams, so to speak, show up in here, the crowds will be even better. So this is a tremendous start in my opinion.
UT-Arlington was a pretty solid three-point shooting team last year. They come out tonight, shoot 2 of 20. How are you guys able to limit them so much from the perimeter?
Yeah, we talk about that being one of the keys to our defensive philosophy is trying to limit teams' effectiveness at the three-point line. It's so much of the fabric of how the game is played these days. If we can take that away, because teams aren't going to stop shooting them, right? So you want to make them as inefficient and contest as many of them as possible. Now, teams aren't going to shoot 2 for 20 every game, but we want to keep them way away from that 35 to 40% range, which is about where really good teams shoot them. And if we can keep them below 30, then we feel like we give ourselves a really, really good chance to win on a nightly basis.